This is Stuff You Like, You Can Call Me Ursa, and the reason that actors fall in love on set so much is because sometimes you really can fake it till you make it. But only sometimes. In terms of body language, when we think that people are standing too close to us, we back off. We take steps back either physically, or we lean back, or we take up a defensive posture like we cross our arms. Again, that's what makes the dominatrix dress scene so uncomfortable for me in Attack of the Clones, because you can see Padme moving away and shifting and leaning and generally doing things which scream, I am uncomfortable. Not cool, Anakin. Red light behavior, Anakin. Back off a little bit, Anakin, okay? Han and Leia, by contrast, are near constantly moving closer to each other. In A New Hope, Han met Leia 3 minutes ago and he's pushing her up above the rubbish before climbing up himself. Han in Empire Strikes Back is constantly checking up on Luke and on Leia. Where's Luke? Is Leia on her transport yet, or is she busy being all noble and self-sacrificing? But before Anakin and Padme get together, invasions of personal space are met with retreat, which leads to my feeling of unease. The fact that Leia is more likely to step further into Han's personal space than out of it helps to sell her interest in him. But this is not a TV show, and so you can't just string your audience along forever with the promise of sexual tension. You actually have to resolve it at some point. So how do you change your dynamic? Well, I wouldn't do it like that. So let me instead direct you to Sometimes You Think I'm Alright. Because the scene where Han and Leia kiss is absolutely pivotal in terms of their relationship development, and yet, if it were slightly different, it could have just been so creepy and so very wrong. The tone and the tempo of Leia and Han's previous interactions lead us to believe that Han and Leia fight. That's just what they do. Death Star celebrations notwithstanding. But to change that, you need to change their dynamic, and so the subtext of this scene goes a little something like this. I am doing work on a real piece of this real broken spaceship, which really exists. Okay, done. Now to turn this lever. Damn it. Here, let me help. I do not want your help. Oh, okay. Ugh, why are you not shouting back? This is where you make a teasing remark and then walk off. I'm being conciliatory for a change. One of us has to do something before the UST meter explodes. Besides, sometimes you like me. Sometimes. You know, at some point we should really stop flirting and just kiss. Don't talk nonsense, we are not flirting. Yeah, we are, and no, I'm really close to your face too, we should kiss. We are not screw it. Blah 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 blah. Damn it, 3PO! The scene itself is gentle, in spite of the fact that they are technically crammed into quite a small space. It feels cramped, but it doesn't necessarily feel claustrophobic. There is space for Leia to move away, an entire corridor, in fact, but she doesn't. Context, body language, people not being jerks, don't you love it? But then, it gets better. Because their relationship after smoochy smoochy Falcon times is just as much fun, but different. They kiss and they touch and they hold each other like they mean it. All that stuff which was so conspicuously absent from Anakin and Padme's on-screen movie interactions is there. Hand-holding, casual touching, hugging, kissing, sidelong glances. Fine, Anakin and Padme had plenty of sidelong glances, but all those other things are present in Han and Leia's relationship, and it helps to sell it. But the beginning of Anakin and Padme's relationship in Attack of the Clones is awkward, and then by Revenge of the Sith we're at the end of it, so it's difficult for your average moviegoer to feel any sympathy, because we've skipped any happiness that they might have had in the middle. In The Empire Strikes Back, you get at least a little bit of Han and Leia's blossoming relationship, and then it all kind of goes to hell, and there's the big dramatic declaration scene, and I love you, and I know, and then Han's just gone. And Empire Strikes Back ends on this because it is, of course, the dark middle chapter. But then she goes to rescue him in A Return of the Jedi, and they pick right back up where they left off with that casual inner relationship kind of dynamic. I love you, I know is so important because it's so true to their character dynamic. It's not a cocksure declaration that, yeah, everyone finds me irresistible, it's fine. It's a reassurance that their time hasn't been wasted, and that even if she hadn't got around to saying the words yet, he knows how much he means to her. Because, of course, she already knows how much she means to him. I mean, it's blindingly obvious, right? He's not worried about himself. And then, of course, in Return of the Jedi, they reverse it, and it's kind of adorable. Empire Strikes Back is my favourite of the Star Wars movies, and that's for a lot of reasons, but I remember getting it on VHS in 1995, despite having got the other two movies in 1994, don't ask me why, and being entranced. 9-year-old me freaking loved this movie. 29-year-old me loves it even more. Padme and Anakin's relationship arc in the films is too abrupt and too awkward for me to feel anything other than mild pity. I couldn't get behind them falling in love. And while I was somewhat more sold on the dynamic when it did happen, the fact that Padmé spends much of Revenge of the Sith as just kind of reduced to a bit part player / emotionally abused woman is just... it's not fun. And considering that her whole arc in The Phantom Menace is about not being a pawn of other people's games, not just being an object which they can push around as they like, the fact that she felt so much like a MacGuffin in Revenge of the Sith was very unsatisfying for me. And also I just like to see people happy, you know? And so I will be mad as hell if Han and Leia have been broken up in The Force Awakens. I believe in their happily ever after raising Jedi children ending movie, so you should as well.